Hello students. Today we will do a very beautiful as well as a meaningful poem by Phoebe Carey, A Legend of the Northland from book Beehive. The poem is based on the theme that greed is a grave sin. Greedy people do not deserve the blessings and the comforts of human life. Human beings should thus acquire qualities of kindness, fellow feeling and empathy. The little woman's greed stopped her from sharing even her smallest cake with hungry Saint Peter, thus earning his wrath, his anger. So now, before proceeding with the explanation, I would like to acquaint you all with the poet Carey. Phoebe Carey was an American poetess, the younger sister of Elise Carey. These sisters co-published poems in 1849. And then each went to publish volumes of their own. Carey occasionally attended school. She often had to work at home and hence was largely self-educated. Her mother died in 1835 and 2 years later her father married again. Phoebe died of hepatitis and was buried in New York. After the death of both sisters, a joint anthology of their poems was also completed. So this poem has 16 stanzas. The rhyme scheme of the poem is ABCB, means each stanza have the rhyme scheme ABCB. This poem is a ballad. A ballad, as you all know, is a poem that is narrating a story in short stanzas. Before starting with the explanation, I want to tell you that we will discuss the literary devices, the poetic devices that has been used by the poet in other video. Now I'll explain poem stanza by stanza, so pay attention. Stanza 1. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in the winter that they cannot sleep them through. In the region around the North Pole, the poetess want to tell us that in the region around the North Pole, the duration of the day is very less because its position is such that the sun's rays reach for a very less time. When this area is experiencing winter season, the duration of night is very long and the daytime hours are very less. In line 4, they refers to the people who live in this region. The poet says that the duration of the night time is so long that the people cannot sleep them through. Means the nights used to be very long and the days are shorter. If they go to bed, take a few hours of sleep and then they wake up, it is still night time. He wants to emphasize on the fact that the duration of the night is very long. Stanza 2 is, where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear's cubs in the funny furry clothes. Harness, I want to tell you the meaning of the difficult words in this stanza. Harness is to strap and fasten. Sledge is a cart used on ice. Cub is younger one of bear, lion, etc. And furry is covered with fur. So what the poet tells us in this stanza, the Northland region experiences severe cold conditions. It is a snowy area. The reindeer is an animal which is found in this polar region. People tie the reindeers to sledges and then the reindeers pull the sledges. He adds that the children look like young ones of the bear because they wear funny looking clothes made of fur which is like the furry skin of a bear. And stanza 3, they tell them a curious story. I don't believe this true. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Curious is strange. So in line 1, they refers to the parents or elders and them refers to the children or the younger generation. The elders of the Northland region tell a strange and interesting story to the younger generation. The poet says that he doesn't think that the story is true. But if he tells the story to the reader, maybe the reader could learn a lesson from it. The story gives an important message too. Stanza 4. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, Saint is a person of exceptional holiness, preaches to give religious speech. So the story is about Saint Peter actually. When Saint Peter used to live in the world and went around giving religious lectures to the people, just like all saints used to do, then an incident happened. Okay, so stanza 5th is, he came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. Cottage is a small house. Bake is to cook. Hearth is fireplace. Okay, so what the poet is telling us, when Saint Peter was moving around the world and he was giving religious lectures to the people, he reached the door of a cottage where a small woman was making cakes. She was baking the cakes in the fireplace. Stanza 6. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked from her store of cakes to give him a single one. Faint is when you are supposed to, when you are feeling weak, famished. Okay, so what the poet is telling us, as Saint Peter had not eaten anything the entire day, he was very hungry and he was feeling very weak. So he went to this woman who was baking cakes and he asked for one cake out of the many cakes that she had already baked. Stanza 7. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. Okay, so the woman was really selfish. She didn't give cake from her store. Instead, she started making a very small cake for Saint Peter. She didn't want to share her things, but when she put the cake for baking, she looked at it and thought that this cake was too big to be given to someone. She was really a miser woman. And next stanza is, therefore she needed another, and still a smaller one. But it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. It is make a mixture. Okay, so the little miser woman thought that the cake was too big to be given away. So she started making another smaller cake. When she looked at that cake, she again felt that it was as big as the previous one. Again, she was not ready to give this smaller cake to the Saint Peter. Next stanza. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer. Wafer is very thin dry biscuit. Okay, so dough is flour that is mixed with water, but she couldn't part with that. And the poet is telling us in this stanza, she is trying to tell us the third time she took a very small amount of dough and rolled it. The poet says that she rolled and rolled to lay emphasis on the fact that she rolled the dough and made it very thin like a wafer and baked it. But she was so greedy that she could not give that thin piece of bread to the saint. For she said, next stanza is, for she said, my cakes that seem too small, when I eat of them myself, are yet too large to give away. So she put them on shelf. See, so selfish that woman is. The woman reasoned that when she ate the cakes herself, she felt that they were very small. But if she had to give them to someone, she felt that they were too big to be given away. She put all the cakes on the shelf of her kitchen and she did not give any cake to Saint Peter. Alright, so the next stanza is stanza 11. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Provoke is when you are causing somebody to get angry. Okay, so Saint Peter became angry. He was very hungry and he was feeling very weak, and the selfish woman was not ready to give him even a small cake. This behavior of the greedy woman angered the saint. Stanza 12. And he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. Dwell is to live. Selfish is a person who thinks only for personal advantage. And shelter is a place for protection. Human form is as a human being. Here in this stanza, Saint Peter cursed the woman and said that she was very selfish. She didn't deserve to live like a human being. He added that God had given her food, shelter, and fire to keep warm, but she had become selfish for all the resources she had. She didn't want to share them with anybody. Next stanza is, now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food, and by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. Scanty is very little in amount. Boring over here is make a hole in something that with a tool or by digging. Saint Peter cursed the woman that hence she would become a bird because she didn't deserve the human form. She really didn't deserve to be a human being. She shall become a bird, and just like birds build their houses by boring into wood and collect very little food by working hard the entire day, similarly, she would also work hard in the dry wood all day and get little food and make a small place for herself to live in. Stanza 14. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. So the poet is telling us, as soon as Saint Peter cursed the woman, she didn't get a chance to speak for herself, because that very moment she flew up to the roof through the chimney and flew out in the form of a bird. Saint Peter's curse had converted the woman into a bird. Stanza 15. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same. But all the rest of her clothes were burned, black as a coal in the flame. When the woman turned into a bird, at that time she was wearing a red-colored cap on her head. This cap was there on the bird's head also. But the woman's remaining clothes had burned and turned black in color, just like coal. The last stanza. And every country school boy has seen her in the wood, where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food. Countries belonging to the countryside, that is the rural areas. People who live in countryside, even the small children who go to school, seen this kind of bird in woods. They see that she stays there all day and keeps on digging the wood with her beak to collect her food. Whenever any child sees this kind of bird, then his elders tell him this story. They say that the bird used to be a woman earlier. She was very greedy, and so she was cursed by a saint who was Saint Peter, and turned into a bird. They get a teaching that they shouldn't be greedy. I hope you have understood the explanation. So students, what message do we get from this poem? This poem really conveys the message that as human beings, we should have positive qualities like affection, love, fellow feeling, sympathy, generosity, and a sense of sharing. The poet also brings forth the idea that people with negative, inhuman values like selfishness, greed, and cruelty are ultimately punished. The blessings of human life with food, shelter, and warmth have to be earned through good and moral conduct. So students, this is all for this video. I hope you have understood it well, and we will do the uses of literary devices in this poem in our next video. Thank you for watching.